Hi, my name is Robin, and I'm here with Amy Oliver of Bluebell Counseling. Hi, Amy. I was wondering if you could just start us off by giving an overview of like your counseling history and what area you chose to specialize in.
Currently, I own a private practice in Austin, and I specialize with eating disorders, anxiety, body image. I went into grad school and came out fully knowing that that's what I wanted to do. And so I went right back to what was at that point now Eating Recovery Center, San Antonio. Worked there for another year, working towards my LPC license. And then I transferred to Austin and finished up my hours in Austin and stayed there. I worked at ERC Austin for about 5 years and then moved into the private practice gig. Did that answer those questions?
Yeah, that answered that question. I appreciate it. What is a lesson that you've learned either from a patient or from counseling people with eating disorders that has really improved your own mental health?
I thought about it after I saw it. Thank you for emailing them to me in advance. And really, the thing that came to my mind immediately was that working with clients just reminds me that everybody is human. Everybody's human, everybody is messy, everybody makes mistakes, and everybody deserves to be happy. And that's something that I think really adds to just what I get from this profession.
That's cool. I love that. I actually love that. As I think that's something that I've kind of learned when in just interacting with people and having people open up to me. It's kind of like, oh, like they're actually people too. But
Yeah, we're all human. Everybody's doing their best.
yeah, for sure. And for my second question, so in the DSM-5 TR, they define eating disorders as just a disturbance in eating or eating related behaviors that leads to significant impairment in an individual's functioning. What what can someone do if they believe that their loved one may be struggling with an eating disorder?
But I think the biggest thing is to make sure that whatever you do, you're coming at them with a lot of compassion and support. I think it's really easy to, I don't know, maybe be judgmental accidentally or invalidating or pushy in a way that could really kind of scare them off a little bit or make it harder for them to hear that you're actually concerned. And so I think if you feel comfortable going to them directly and talking to them, that's really what I would suggest doing, is being really caring and compassionate and express like your love for them. And then the NIDA website is a very good source for just kind of basic information about like some do's and don'ts and just how to kind of gain information for yourself and find links to possible like treatment centers or professionals that can help. If I think that it's also different if you're talking about a minor or an adult who you're concerned about. So obviously, like parents, I would say really like don't take it lightly. Don't just hope that it goes away. And even if your kid gets angry that you put them in therapy or take them to treatment, like it's better. Y'all can work through that in therapy. And if it's a friend or a loved one who's an adult, I think it's really just continuing to be patient and caring and compassionate and help them see that there is a way out and then be there.
And another topic I know that you're super interested in, and for someone who doesn't know, what is health at every size and what is intuitive eating?
Okay. So they are related but separate or different, I guess. So health at every size is this like just the idea that health is connected to being thin is wrong and damaging. And if you really look at all the research, that is actually what you see. If you look at research on eating disorders, research on dieting, research on depression, anxiety, all of that, like weight stigma plays a huge role. And the leading cause of people kind of getting into, what we call now, being in a larger body the leading cause of that is actually diet mentality, going on diets, feelings like stress and pressure and shame about your body. And so it's, yeah, I think that would be a good, I think, kind of explanation about HAES. And then the intuitive eating is part of the goal as far as like letting go of stigma in diet culture. And so learning how to listen to your body's cues, learning how to stop when you're full, eat when you're eat to be satisfied and for enjoyment. There's a lot of space for like overeating is not terrible. It happens. And if when we start to listen to outside sources, so a diet or a blog or a book that basically tells you, hey, no, you can't be hungry yet. You just had lunch. No way you need a snack. That's not realistic. Everybody's different. So learning how to go back to the basics and listen to our own bodies actually will protect you from having these feelings that like ice cream is calling for you from the refrigerator or the freezer, or you can't control yourself around cookies or anything that tastes good. That actually comes from diet mentality and not from knowing how to listen to yourself.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a really good summary for sure. Chris Germer, who co-authored the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook, he sees self-compassion as this process of self-soothing, kind of wrapping yourself in a blanket of love in a sense, right? What are some ways that individuals can give themselves self-compassion, or just some simple ways that they can implement into their lives like right now?
I think the biggest one that comes to mind for me is self-validation. So like knowing, learning how to, practicing validating your own experiences and your own emotions and what's going on for you instead of just jumping right to criticisms or I shouldn't, I should. And showering yourself with shame is probably the worst thing you can do if you really care about your own mental health. Like that's another thing I think that you can find in research, and if you look into kind of self-compassion research, is that the more that you put like that kind of, I guess the idea of like punishing yourself or putting a fire under your ass, so to speak, in order to make behavior change, the more that you do that, the more that you shame yourself for behavior that you don't like, the less likely you actually are to change it. And if you use self-compassion, you're more likely to find that sustainable change. It also helps to break up black and white thinking. That's another huge piece for self-compassion, is not having those black and white thoughts. You're not either good or bad. That wasn't either a good thing or a bad thing. Like there's always some nuance, and giving yourself a little bit of space to sit in that is also self-compassion.
Yeah. And for my last question, if someone who is watching this is stuck in diet culture, just not feeling good in themselves, do you have any words of encouragement, or what would you say to them right now?
Well, at first I would say like, hey, that makes sense. I mean, there's a reason that eating disorders are on the rise. Diet culture is just so everywhere, and it tells us that that's how we fix everything. If anything is wrong, like just lose a couple of pounds, it'll fix it. You'll get that job, you'll get that, get that good grade. Like, and it's just a lie. It's not real. And so my words of encouragement would be that there is a way out of that. There's a lot of resources online. You can seek out an eating disorder dietitian and eating disorder therapist to get some help and support on how to break down all this diet mentality. There's a lot of misinformation out there about food and about how it impacts you. And really, again, like going back to that intuitive eating piece, if you can do anything to start moving back in that direction and challenging diet culture, that's going to help you find some freedom. But it's really hard to do on your own, and that's okay.
That's all the questions I had for today. Thank you for coming in and talking to me and agreeing to do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Of course.